In everyday life, the ability to get things done is a powerful skill to have. But this skill is completely reliant on motivation, which everyone struggles with sometimes. Everyone. Me, you, anyone that you can think of has struggled with motivation at one point or another, some more than others. Because motivation is a limited resource that we have, tying into the idea of ego depletion, that your body has a limited pool of resources to spend on willpower, self-control, motivation. You need to always find your own way of regaining motivation that you lose every day. The easiest way people lose motivation is coming home after a long day of school and work and flopping down on the bed and going, I've done enough work today. I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. You need to get yourself out of this mindset if you're stuck in it. You need to break this loop. Because believe me, it's a loop. And it's a loop that will haunt you for the rest of your life unless you deal with it early on. My favorite way to regain motivation is to imagine myself after I do something. To imagine myself after I complete a task. For example, if I have an essay to do, I always like, just before I start, to close my eyes and just really think about how my life will be after I complete the essay. How much stress I will be free of. How much free time I'll have to spend on doing whatever I want, not worrying about this stupid essay. If it's a continual thing, for example, something you do every day, every week, not like an essay that just happens one time. For example, every day I've committed myself to learning just a little bit of Russian. Instead of imagining yourself after these things, imagine yourself before you started. Right when you made the decision to do it. Running every day. Learning a little bit of Russian every day. Making sure you ask a question every day. Doing X amount of X every day. Every week. Doesn't matter. If it's a continual thing, you should definitely remember yourself before and the reasons why you started doing this. Why did you start? What benefits did you see? How far have you come since then? This is powerful if you've done this thing for a long time. For example, before I could barely read the Russian alphabet, and now I know every single letter back, forward, upside down. And I'm proud of myself for it. And every day when I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do it now, I can probably do it tomorrow, I think back to how awful I was before. How I could barely say hello. And then I think about now, when I could probably hold a conversation in Russian if I wanted to. A great website to help you maintain daily, monthly, weekly things is a website called change.cc, which, if you don't do something every day, every week, whatever you choose, it'll break the chain and you'll have to start all over again. And it really helps you put into perspective how continually doing something is so important, so integral to education. You've probably heard this before from somewhere, but to get things started, to get yourself into a role, you should always break things down into smaller parts, instead of thinking them as huge chunks of work. For example, back to the essay example. Back to the essay example. Instead of thinking it as introductory paragraph, 3 pages, hard work, research, proofreading, draft 1, 2, 3. Instead of thinking it of all these things together, bunched up, you need to think to yourself, can I go downstairs and get my bag? Can I open it and bring up my history book? Open up the notepad and start making a couple of first drafts? Can I do that? And you think to yourself, well, yeah, that's really easy to do. Let's go get the bag. Let's bring it upstairs. Let's open my notepad. Where do we go from here? The smaller you can break things down into, the easier they become. And once you get into a role, when you get into motion with this, it becomes so easy to do. I like to think of it as Newton's first law. Once a body is in motion, it tends to stay in motion, and when a body is at rest, it tends to stay at rest, unless acted on by another force. This is the same reason why you can stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning and barely be tired, but the next day you'll sleep in until 2 o'clock in the day. You need to use a force to put yourself into motion. And this force isn't always there. The people who have lots of motivation are actually just people who are really good at summoning this force and getting into a role, getting into the gist, getting into the mindset. If you are really, really good, a great way to get motivation is to just think in the long term. And just imagining 3 months from now, a year from now, how much better you'll be if you keep doing something. And it's very important to do things every day, to always use your mind as much as you can. Because not using your mind will make you fall into a whirlpool of no motivation, of no desires, of no goals. If you're really unfortunate, depression. Like physical activity, mental activity is extremely important to maintain health. If you don't get physical activity every day, if you don't do just a little bit consistently, you'll get really, really unhealthy. It's not even about getting fat. It's just you'll get unhealthy. You'll lack bone structure. You'll lack certain chemicals in your brain. You'll lack a lot of things. Similarly with mental activity, you just stop doing things, you don't find motivation, your mental health will just completely deteriorate, probably even faster than your physical health. And it's really sad to see people fall into a whirlpool like this and be unable to get out. It's like a rip current. If you don't deal with it early on, you'll get dragged out so fast and so unexpectedly. And once you're out there, getting back is the biggest challenge you'll ever face in your life. Like, getting fat for some people is really easy. Really, really easy. And trying to lose all that weight is exponentially harder. So incredibly hard that they'll probably stay fat for the rest of their lives, unless they really build up a huge amount of motivation, a huge amount of self-control, and they drill it into their mind every minute of every day to remember the goal that they have in their mind. If every day even if you just do a crossword, or a Sudoku puzzle, or maybe just one math question, that can be the difference between you having a job in a year or you living off welfare in a year. Without motivation, our minds become completely useless. Your brain was developed over millions of years of evolution, and it didn't come so far just so that you could sit on the fucking couch and just eat food and watch TV. Your brain is designed for you to use it, to do things, to experience things. You can't throw that stuff away just because I don't feel like it. I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Procrastination has probably killed more people than you can imagine. Certain things like quotes or videos are great for motivation. There's a video I like called Practice Time, where a guy's just telling you to practice and practice more. And if you ever want to be the best, you're going to have to just keep practicing. This video really helps me before I start doing something, so I can keep in mind why I'm doing it. There's always a reason why you're doing something. And if you don't have a reason for doing something, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Don't waste your time doing stuff that you don't get anything from. Do something else. Do something that benefits you.